Nick Barry a gúsáid leat an am lumsa. Agus bhhailm rá leat a Taoiseach go maithú mar gheall ar an iarracht a bhfuil tú ag déanamh antseanga a leirt sa dáil, agus b'fhéidir má cumadan tú suas an iarracht sin cuirí tú kick sa tón mar a déir far don an dáil go léir antseanga a úsáid níos mó. I do admire you for making that effort. I think it's very important. I'm quite puzzled by a lot of the stuff that you've said, and is there any chance of getting the mic on? Is it okay? Okay. I'm quite puzzled by a lot of the stuff that you've said, Taoiseach, and one of the things that really puzzles me is that you claim that this government will neither be left nor right because the old divisions of today don't comprehend those, the old divisions of yesterday don't comprehend those challenges today. Now, I think you need to explain that, and your Cabinet are going to have to explain it very thoroughly over the next period of time, because as you go through each of the departments, you'll find that there's a common thread, that all of them believe in low taxes for multinational corporations, for example. They believe in low taxes for the very, very wealthy. All of them are committed to privatisation of services, and you yourself have made a renewed commitment to restricting workers' rights, which no doubt will be contained in Paschal Donoghue's public sector pay deal when we come to look at that. The central myth that the free market will solve all our problems lies at the heart of your policy and your Cabinet. And so when you say that you're neither left nor right, what you're saying is that you don't recognise the class system that dominates this globe. But I'm afraid the class system recognises you. And more importantly, I'm afraid the class system recognises the poor, the marginalised and the vast, vast majority of people in this, on this planet who don't have the privilege and the equality that you and many of your Cabinet ministers have. To claim that you're neither left nor right is nothing new. This was a claim made by Tony Blair, it's made by Macron, it's made by the centre in Europe that you seem to be so devoted to, and it's been the rhetoric of many governments for about 3 decades. And what has it given us? It has given us the most unequal society ever on the globe, the widest gap between wealth and poverty than we've ever seen. It has given us the 1% versus the 95%. It has given us the few versus the many. And Taoiseach, your commitment to equality is an idea, but in practice you're going to have to show that. Now, it baffles me how you cannot recognise that there is a class structure in this world and at the same time say you're committed to equality. Because in practice, if you want to commit to in order to bridge the gap between it. So let me give you an example. Lindara, the CAMS unit in Ballyfermot, lost half its beds in the last week. Half its beds for adolescent young people who suffer with mental health. Many of them are young gay people. The rate of mental health disadvantage among young gay people is equal to that of the travelling community. Young gay people are 4 times more likely to be suicidal, they're 4 times more likely to self-harm. And yet your government has allowed half of that ward closed down, and that equals to 1/5 of the mental health beds that are available in this country. Now, if you want to address inequality, you would immediately tell the minister sitting 2 away from you, Paschal Donoghue, to stop treating nurses with unequal pay, to end the inequality in pay and to address the fact that they cannot retain and recruit nurses. You would then turn around to Simon Harris and instruct him to reopen those beds. You would then turn around to Owen Murphy and tell him to bring back rents to realistic levels so nurses can afford to live in this city, and that way you would be addressing the inequality with which adolescent young people are treated. It is very abstract to say that there is no such thing as left or right. The only place that it really matters is when you come to agree with Micheál Martin that you want to shut up this side of the House. You want to shut down what we have to say precisely because we're shining a light and throwing open the contradictions that you stand for. I looked over a speech that you made last summer at the McGill Summer School, where you shared a platform with Deputy Richard Boyd-Barrett, and of course I have to say this, Richard Boyd-Barrett spoke very eloquently about the issue of equality. You, Taoiseach, said that you acknowledged that the free market was amoral and that it doesn't address the question of equality. Now, I know you keep saying that you're progressing and you're maturing and you change your mind along the way. Less than a year ago, you acknowledged that the free market cannot address the question of inequality. And I want to ask you and all of your cabinet, and they all have responsibility in this area, how they are going to do that. And it amazes me that every single one of them will make that commitment to, on the one hand, supporting the rich and the inequality in this country, and on the other hand, to you as the Taoiseach, who says that there is no such thing as a class divide and that you cannot claim to be either left or right. We have to deal with the housing crisis, the health crisis, and crucially, we have to deal with the inequality that is meted out to women in this society. And I'm glad the other deputy mentioned it, that you're reducing the number of women in your cabinet. Shame on you. That is really a shame and a backward step. And I hope that when Simon Harris sits down to look at the role of the Citizen Assembly, that along with other deputies who will take part in that he insists that it meets throughout the summer so that we hurry up a referendum on the 8th Amendment, not slow it down. We have waited 33 years, all my adult life, we've been fighting for equality and abortion rights in this country. And the young woman who last year was incarcerated in a mental institution because she asked for an abortion resounds and is reminiscent of the X case all of over 25 years ago. Now let's put an end to that, and the only way we'll do it is by giving people a say in how this democracy is run. And you won't do it by throwing open the entire project to privatisation, to the free market, to giving away all of the rights to NAMA to be able to do what they will with the empty properties, to throwing homeless people into hubs and not homes. This is just worsening the situation, and I look across at your cabinet and I don't believe that they have a commitment to actually address the question of inequality. I believe they'll perpetuate it, I believe you'll perpetuate it, and I believe that we'll remain here to challenge you in that perpetuation, and that the only thing that you have done so far and the only thing that you can agree on is that you, along with Fianna Fáil, will try and shut us up. But everything doesn't happen in here, it also happens outside. And so on Saturday, there will be thousands of women and men gathering in Galway, in Cork and Dublin to demand a repeal of the 8th Amendment, and there will be thousands gathering to demand an end to the housing crisis, and that will continue. Life also exists outside the Dáil. Opposition also exists outside the Dáil.
Deputy Barry.